Hey everybody, welcome to another model building workshop. I am Mr. Allen. I'm coming to you from Providence, Rhode Island on behalf of the Community Libraries of Providence in my workshop here. And today we're looking at Academy Models Republic of Korea tank crew figures. Yeah, from Academy. This is South Korean, in case there's any curiosity there. These date from 1995. It says Minicraft / Academy, Torrance, California. Actually, I think they were made in Korea. And you get 4 figures for South Korean tank crew. And there's your instructions right there, such as they are. And a painting guide, basically for like a woodland style camouflage. So it's a nice set to have if you have Korean armored vehicles, obviously. And what I'm doing with these, and I've got a number of them, well, it's a story. So basically, I'll give you the story. So when Squadron Mail Order, when they were back in Texas, this is prior to COVID, they had a big sale. And these were going for a very, very, very low price. And I figured, this would be great to build with the kids at the library, because figures are very popular with kids in my library program, building figures. They like these. And at the price, I figured, well, it would be cool to have a bunch of these at a low price so we could do a whole class, because when you have a number of kids, you kind of want them all building the same thing. It makes life a lot easier for you as an instructor if they're not, like this one's building a Spitfire, person's building a Hurricane. This one over here is building a Messerschmitt 110 with 2 engines. It gets a little daunting trying to bounce from one project to the next with the kids if they're not doing the same project. So this just solved that issue, because I would have a stack of them and we could all work on them. So in theory, that was a great idea. But let's take a look at this kit in more detail. Because I don't know if you can see the parts there. I should probably get a better background for you if I have my cardboard box ready. Yes, I do. Maybe that will help. So there's a lot more to this kit for assembly than, say, a Tamiya figure or Tamiya. And there's some small parts. You can see the pistol holsters are there, and you also get the little ammo pouch for the pistols, which is really, really tiny. Of course, with kids, you're probably not going to get too many. They're going to have the patience to put the little ammo clip pouch onto the figure. So I tend not to worry about that for authenticity and all that. I mean, let the kids have fun, right? You also have some cleanup to do, because there are, you can see little pieces you're going to have to cut off. There's little round parts there on the legs. So there's cleanup with this. So that was something that, like, okay, I got to work on that a bit. There's goggles. There's lots of fun little parts, but they're very small. And you get the head is separate. The legs, you got to build this figure, is what I'm saying. You know, luckily you don't have to put the boots on separately, but I've seen Academy do that in other kits, and that's challenging for younger modelers. So that's what I'm getting at. For a younger modeler, this is a bit more work than they're used to. So how do they look? Well, they're okay. I think the facial expressions are kind of fun. There's one here. They also have some machine pistols that are kind of cool that go with them. There's a lot of them. To give you like 4 of them with this kit, 1 for each. Although they really only show 2 of them holding them. But it's a nice option if you want to arm them all, you can. And there's enough pistols for all of them as well. There's a pair of binoculars which are not mentioned in the instruction sheet, but on the front there you can see that one of them's got the pair. Although you can, I gave it to this guy. So there's some options on how you can dress these up if you want. So another issue I ran into, which is no fault of the model kit, but when I gave these to kids to work on, this is a little while ago. Right now I'm trying to clean these up and do another approach with the extras that I had left over. So I basically handed the kids the box and let them go to town. So what happened is, not every kid, or I should say most kids, don't want to bother reading instructions. So it's something that, I really have to work on in the class, because what they end up doing is they end up, I don't think I have an example here. Well, I kind of do, just by default. Oops, I'm dropping stuff. So I've got a box of, I don't know if you can see all that. Yep. Different legs and assorted body parts floating around. Because what they just instinctively did is they just started cutting parts off the trees and started putting them together and not following the sequence and the instructions. So you had a mix match of parts with different figures, and you start getting figures in weird poses that are not even anatomically possible. The kind of thing, or the, you get some of that going on. So what I'm doing now, I don't know why I'm going through this much work with this. Some of this should just go in the rubbish can and that's it. But, I'm trying to sort out and use the pieces and try to create figures out of them. And in some cases, like this one's kind of a combination of different parts from different figures, but it makes a figure. Because you have the sitting, there's a couple of sitting ones. One is, I think, is supposed to be a driver, like this guy. And there's another one that's sitting just holding a machine gun that you see here. But, we ended up getting a variety of different things going on because of how they cut and switch the pieces around. So, and in some cases I'm filling in some added details for the ones I'm building here, which I'm going to have them paint these, for fun. And I'm filling in some details with some old extra parts from a modern U.S. soldier kit, just to try to create figures for them to do, paint or do something with. Other than that, the other thing I've learned, from this exercise, which is going back a few years ago actually, is that with kids, especially younger kids, it's good to do this. And what this is you get the parts for a figure. I think I've got one over here that's set up a little better. Yeah. So you have, these are the parts to make that one figure there. So this is the guy sitting, like, I guess, the driver. So here's all the parts you need to assemble him. So what I can do is I can hand this to the kid and say, you're building this guy. The instructions are here. We would have the equipment on the table for them to work with, and you're building him. And then I would go to the next student and say, okay, here's the commander. You're doing him, and all the parts to do that are in there. And in some cases, I'm finding maybe, I'm gluing like the legs together and creating that base for them to build on, so that it save a little bit of time and a little bit of headache. Because I also learned that when you're trying to build figures like these, and like Dragon also, when you have to put the legs together and then put the torso on, if you don't wait long enough for the glue to set, and again, working with kids, you need the things to set a little bit before you start building onto it, because otherwise things are going to start bending and breaking and twisting. And do I have that one here? I think I do. Yeah, because we have this one here. I don't know if this is going to show up well on camera. Oh wait, this is an example of that where, I don't know if you can see on the back, because it separated, but now we have a nasty gap in the back of that figure. And of course the torso will not sit on that properly. I was trying to chisel this off and redo it, but it ain't happening, so this is going to go in the garbage. But I wanted to show you, I'm sure you've experienced this as a model builder yourself, but this is what happens when you try and then it starts to separate and it gets messy. So anyway, yeah, I guess this would be a pretty good set to do with any kind of South Korean armor kit from that time period. Yeah. So this was my note that this one was a mess. All the messed up figures were in that box at one time. All my, soldiers that needed like amputations and whatnot were in there. So I'm trying to sort them out and do this with them. So, it's a 1995 kit. I don't know who else makes Republic of Korea figures. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody doing this. So you do have them, and you could build them and work with them if you wanted to. And again, detail so, but they got possibilities. And the price tag is low, so that, at least it was. I'm assuming it still is, if you find them. Again, facial expressions are kind of fun. Some of the other details are a little lacking. But we'll see what they look like when you put paint on them. I mean, that tends to be the deciding moment there. But for me, trying to do them with kids presented a whole different challenge. I can't say I really recommend this set for that job. Not without a lot of work, as I'm going through here. Anyway, so saving money, adding time. I'm sure a lot of you don't have to worry about that because you're probably not doing a class for kids. But anyway, that's kind of my take on this kit of the Republic of Korea tank crew figures. Just an interesting one to work with. Okay, I'm Mr. Allen. I'm signing off for this week, and we'll see you soon on the next model building workshop. Bye now.